Okay, guys. So till now, we whatever things that we have understood, right? So we have understood about the image classification. We know about the details of how the YOLO models work. Okay, we came across all those theories and the flow that first of all, like how to do the image detection from RCNN, mask RCNN, fast RCNN, faster RCNN. Then we come up with the YOLO architecture model that how the object is getting detected, right? Then we have done a lot of image pre-processing step, right, which was actually a very mandatory step in order to do the image object detection and the image classification and other thing. Okay, so we have done the image pre-processing part as well, right? Now in today's lecture, I wanted to show you, let's deep dive into the practical implementation of the how actually the object is detected. Okay, that how the proper bounding box and like what is the very conventional way and what are the other more practical way that mostly used in the industry part as well. Okay, so the agenda of today's video is that let's deep dive into first the object detection part using a YOLO model, and let me show you that how each and every part and all those nuts and bolts regarding it are actually working, right, so that you become a completely expert in it, right? So after this, so we will again move on to this, carry forward this video for training part, for deployment part, for running it in edge device part and other thing. Okay, so let's start with the today's video where I will be discussing about the object detection part. Now before like jumping directly into the object detection part, right, I really wanted to show you that what are the other concept which is actually needed. Okay, so we are supposed to use today the YOLO model, right? Okay, so we are supposed to use the YOLO model today, right? YOLO model for detecting the object. Okay, so we are supposed to detect the object, right? Now in order to detect the object, right, using let's say the YOLO model, right? So what are the other things like we need to first of all know about thing? We know about YOLO model. I hope you guess it, right? We know that how this actually model works and other thing. Okay, so let's say that, so from where we are going to import this model. Okay, so we will be importing this model from the Ultralytics library. Okay, so Ultralytics is basically the one common source where actually like you can generally try to import the YOLO model. Okay, and then try to like locate the YOLO model into your local system, so that it will save into .pt file. I will tell you each and everything. Okay, then again you are supposed to use this .pt file to detect the object into your local system as well. Okay, now from where you will detecting the object, so either you can actually detect the object on a single image or set of image, or let's say video. Okay, or let's say the live streaming, right? So so there are many ways you can actually like try to detect the object. Okay, now the other thing is that let's say that you have actually like used the YOLO model, right, and you have actually detected the object. So for example, let's say that this is my image. Okay, so let's say that this is basically my image, this one is basically my image. Okay, now from this, like what will you see? You will see that that this is basically one person. Okay, now let's say that this is like the object which has been detected, this is the other object which has been detected, this is the other object. Now this is basically some flower pot, this is basically a pillar, right? This is basically a pillar, which means that these are actually the bounding box, right? So this is actually the bounding box 1, these are actually the bounding box 2, this is bounding box 3, this is bounding box 4, this is bounding box 5. Okay, so total we will be having a list of 5 bounding box. Okay, so this is actually the containing the coordinate of, let's say, the detection of the first person. The other is basically containing the coordinate of the detection of second person. Similarly, detection of third person, detection of fourth person, and detection of fifth person, right? So it is going to contain the bounding box of all the detection, all the detected object. Okay, now I really wanted to like make your concept clear about these things. Okay, so let's say that you have a detection, right? So let's say that once you have actually detected the object. Okay, let's say that you have actually detected one person. Okay, so you have actually detected one person. Now for person you will be getting some bounding box. Okay, all bounding box means the 4 coordinate. Okay, let's say that I am actually getting the pixel wise 4 coordinate. Let me show you that I am actually getting 140, 150, 360 and 480. Similarly, I'm just taking the random number just to show you. Okay, so let's say that these are basically the coordinate that I will be getting. Okay, which means that these are basically the top left coordinate and these are basically the bottom right coordinate, and from this you know the story that how to create a bounding box, right? Now the point is, if we are actually detecting the object from the YOLO, okay, and the bounding box that you will be getting, right? So let's say that these are the bounding box you will getting. Okay, now it will not follow the very conventional way. So what it does is that the first number, right, in the bounding box detection, you have the four number, right, the four integer, or let's say a floating point number, right. The first number is basically your center of x. I will show you what it is. Okay, the second number is basically the center of y, right. The third number is basically, let's say, this one, the height. Okay, and then let's say this is basically the width. Okay, so this is not the top left or bottom right corner. YOLO as a model, okay, it is try to give you the coordinate of the bounding box. Okay, and the coordinate that you will be getting, right, so that coordinate, the first two number in the coordinate, you will be getting the bounding box of the center coordinate. Okay, which means that, suppose if I tell you this one, right, so suppose that I tell you that this is my object. Okay, this is one of those objects that has been detected, right. So this is basically my center coordinate, which is like cx and cy. Okay, this is basically what my center coordinate. Okay, and this is, let's say, this is basically your width. Okay, and this is your height, right. Now suppose that if you really wanted to like find out the coordinate of this one. Okay, so how will you basically try to find it out, right, because you need something called as top left corner and top right corner. Okay, so how will you actually find it out? So can you just write something like this? So can you just give the basic calculation, and can you just write, let's say that this is my x1 and y1, right. So can you just find out the x1 as this one? So can I write the center coordinate, right, minus of, if I do the width, and then like if I just divide it by 2, right. So can I just find out the coordinate of my x-axis? Okay, because anyway my origin would be, as I already told you in the image processing part, anyway my origin would be from the top left corner, right. So anyway my origin would be here. Okay, it is not starting from the like the bottom left, right, it is always starting from the top left. So top left. Okay, whenever we are doing the image detection part. Okay, I hope you get it, because we have discussed it so many times, right. So let's say that this is my origin. Okay, and this is my width. Okay, and if I just need to find out these coordinate, okay, then how will I actually going to find it out? I can just do these thing, right. So I can just like, because I am already getting the centroid, the center coordinate, right. So can I just like take the difference of the center coordinate like by the half of the width, so that I can actually get the x1. Similarly, if I need to find out the xy, so can I just write cy minus of height of like per se divided by 2. Okay, so that I will be getting this one. I hope you get it, right. So similarly, let's say that I need to find out the bottom right coordinate. Okay, so how will I actually going to find it out? I can actually find out in this way, right. So let's say that x2 and y2. Okay, so can I write c of x plus width divided by 2? Can I just write in this way, divided by 2, right. And can I just write c of y plus height divided by 2, right. So this is the coordinate that I got. Okay, this is the coordinate that I got, which means that I am getting x1 and y1, and I am getting x2 and y2. And will this sufficient enough to draw the bounding box? The answer is yes, it is sufficient enough to plot the bounding box. Plot the bounding box over the image, right. So I hope you get it. So again, what I wanted to tell you is that just remember one thing. Okay, just remember one thing, guys. It is very simple. I just wanted to like take you through this concept, because you see a lot of video where like you won't get this concept. People will directly like try to use some kind of a wrapper or an API just to like do the, so just to try out, just to plot this bounding box over the image. Okay, they won't tell you the very basic like how does it work. Okay, so what I already told you is that from the YOLO model, again I'm repeating this, right. So from the YOLO model, whatever the object that has been detected, right, let's say that you have a 5 object that has been detected. So for 5 object you will be having a coordinate. Okay, you will be having a detected coordinate. So the first two coordinate will be your center coordinate. Okay, the center of x and y. Okay, and the other two coordinate is basically your height and width. Okay, so that you later do the calculation on this to find out the top left corner and the bottom right corner. Okay, so that now it will become sufficient enough for you to draw the bounding box. That is why I'm actually doing this. Okay, because I already got this coordinate from the detection done by the YOLO model. Now I am actually like post processing this coordinate by taking the difference of by taking the difference from center coordinate minus of half of the width. Okay, similarly for y, similarly for like the x2 and then y2, and then I will be getting these kind of a coordinate which is well and sufficient enough to draw the bounding box. Okay, now let's jump back to code. Okay, I think you have like understood this part, so I think we will be jumping back to the coding part, right? That how I am actually supposed to use this, right?